Good afternoon, everybody. My name is, of course, Brian Downing from quantlabs.net. Hopefully you've seen and watched my important webinar on the powwow of September 23rd, earlier tonight, with the immortal Gigi, who has convinced me and has always turned me on to Python. Now, as you know, if you've followed me for a while, I've always struggled with Python. It's a pure hell to work with, a pure hell to install, and a pure hell to work with these Python packages. But hopefully I've found a workaround, solutions, and I'm going to show you two important elements that will help your installation of Python a lot easier. So from what I understand, there's Python 3. Let's call it X, and Python 2.7. And this is the problem I have with Python and R as well, is there's these two separating worlds of like the 3 world and the 2 world. And R is no different, and Python's going through the same thing. But from what I understand with Gigi, the immortal Python guy from Romania, has convinced me that 2.7 and the current version of 2. Whatever is a better way to go. Which makes sense because that's the standard mainstream packages are using and sticking with that path. So let me show you a little installation, because I'm using Windows. I like Windows, and I know Python probably is a fairly easy install on Linux, something like Ubuntu. But I'm Windows. I've got my reasons for Windows, just like Windows. Don't ask me. Anyways. So what you want to do, I've got the instructions here. I'll put a link on where to get this from. But you have the Python Interpreter 2.78, which is the current version. From there, you got to obviously install the Python Interpreter on your system path for Windows, including instructions here. And then I'm going to show you two different, what we call IDEs. Now, some guys like to work with, and gals, I should always include the ladies, but some people like to work with Python Rattling Interpreter, and that's fine. I would assume they have no hair, but that's whatever floats their boat, I guess. I'm an IDE guy. I like visual. I just like things easy. No different than using RStudio with a very nice, easy way to install R packages. I would expect no less than with Python, but with Python they decide, the community or whatever decides to make it rather difficult, which Gigi has confirmed for me that I am not an idiot on learning how to install Python packages, and it is a difficult process. So one of the IDEs, I've also encountered Anaconda, which is a good IDE, Integrated Development Environment, which is pretty decent. There's IPython for like notebooks. There is also Spider, which is a good IDE for data scientists. Of course, I'm doing quant related trading stuff, so obviously I'd fall under quant or data science. So one of the competing IDEs out there is Entropy. Okay, so I'll get to that in a minute, but let me just load up my little command prompt here. Now, if I'm going to load up the Python interpreter, voila! We have the Python interpreter, and it is, as it says, 2.78 right there, and that's all good. Goody. And we're all good. Now, again, let's get into the IDEs, the Integrated Development Environments. I'm going to show you two. I'm going to show you the Entropy, one that it's not paid, it is free. But where they try to commercialize this IDE is through training. I'm not going to get into that. I don't even have an IDE, to be honest. But this is a pretty good little IDE. The one thing I do like about this is the package manager. I just learned this tonight about packages. This is all visual, so it makes your life a lot easier. Now, the two packages that we're really after for data science are, let me see, we got here NumPy and another one called Pandas. Now again, I'm a beginner at all this. I do like the potential of Python, but this is a pain in the ass. But with this type of package manager, and because it's GUI based, it makes life a lot easier. Believe me. Let me show you an example. So one of the uh, package managers I installed was the C types here. Where can I find it? Of course, it has the ability to search, and here's one. We also, I should include this one right here. I include this Python, the C types Python package. Now, the cool thing is you subscribe, and you can just click on remove or install. It's that easy, which is nice. And I do like that. No different than RStudio, and that makes my life a lot easier. But one of the interesting packages I am interested is one called Vispy. This one here. Let me just pull it over here. This one is for charting 3D. I do believe it uses. Well, it doesn't matter. But it's using OpenGL. And cool. But here's a dilemma with Canopy. Coming back to the manager, obviously it's using a repository somewhere, probably on the Canopy or the Entropy site. So if I type in this particular manager ViSpy, I would assume, and do a search for available packages, ViSpy, nothing. Let me see if PyDB. So here we have DB, but let's say I want to install or subscribe or whatever. I can do that, and it will install it as part of this Entropy environment. Very important, very easy, and keeps everything up to date, nice and clean. Hooray! Somebody finally got that. Now, there's obviously the editor. Now, again, I am by no means any type of Python expert, but I can do something called print hello world, and guess what? I can do that. Yay! So this is working with the interpreter. I have no idea what the C++, Python, Java, all these different Pythons mean. Of course, we're working with Python 2.78, I would assume, Python 3. And of course, these are provided by, as you can tell here, by Canopy, which is part of this Entropy IDE. So it has a nice little file manager here for your scripts. I've not gone into it, okay? So that's one choice as an IDE, okay? And I'm going to assume that's cross-platform. But sometimes, I've gone through the struggles of Python, as you pretty well know, but here in Visual Studio, I always have to rely sometimes on Microsoft to come to the rescue, even for the world of Python. Heaven forbid. But in my case, let's say I start a new project here. I just want to show you something. Oh my God, how did Python get in there? But as you can see, I can start up different types of Python projects using Python existing code, a new Python application, maybe it's a Django, IronPython, and so on and so forth. But how did I do that? Let's see. With the brilliance of these folks here, I think this is from Microsoft themselves on this Codeplex. Guess what? There's this thing called Python Tools for Visual Studio. And now I have a fully operational Python environment. Python 2.7 runs the interpreter. This one right here, so I showed you earlier, 2.78 right there, and it's using that as the back end, and it works. Because how do I know that? Well, guess what? I can run this Python script, hello world, that I showed you earlier. Off she goes, and there it is. Hello world. Yay. No different than Python scripting, C# or Visual Basic. You can build it. and I do dig this. But again, I've only started playing with it, so please leave me alone. I'm by no means a Python expert. We're on a good start, but I'm going to start trying to interpret and install some of the Python packages and see where that goes, and maybe even do some experimental stuff. But so far so good. As I said, I've shown you two IDEs. We've got the Entropy, which I showed you, and of course the Python within Visual Studio using this Python Python tools or for Visual Studio, otherwise known as PTVS. Okay, so that's on Codeplex. I'll put this link up. Hopefully, I'll make life easier for those that are struggling, no different than I have been, with Python. And let's hope to hell that we can install Python modules, Python packages as easy as in Entropy, but lesser known ones as well, less mainstream ones. Let's put it that way. So we'll see where we go. Talk to you later. Very exciting indeed, though. Later.